Hello and welcome to the 2011 Football Preview Show. I'm Craig Carlsen, joined by Kevin White and Tony Boone of the Daily Nonpareil. Guys, ready for some football or what?
I think it's time.
Seems like it's been a while. I mean, last year in some ways seems like it just ended, but then again, you know, it seems like forever these last few weeks as we get ready for the first kickoff.
After each preview of each team in Council Bluffs, us three will have a little bit of a roundtable discussion about the team that we just previewed, beginning with Abraham Lincoln. Although a surprising upset in the first round of the state playoffs prematurely ended Abe Lincoln's season in 2010, the Lynx are coming off the best campaign in school history following an undefeated regular season. In head coach Justin Camrad's third year at the helm, AL clinched their third consecutive postseason berth, but now must face the daunting task of replacing a senior class of over 20 talented and experienced players.
We don't think about last year. We just do what we got to do to get wins and go to a conference title and do the best we can.
You know, we don't talk much about last year at all. We know that we had success. We know that a lot of our individuals were part of that team that were successful. We want them to be themselves individually, and we want them to be able to perform at their own level.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go!
In 2010, Abe Lincoln's offense was dynamite, finishing third in 4A in yards and touchdowns. The main recipe for success was Austin Ebertowski and his Class 4A leading 2,078 yards and 39 touchdowns. His departure to the University of Northern Iowa has left the reins in Cleo Harris's hands. The senior averaged over 10 yards a carry last season and is a Division I prospect after running a 4.39 40 at an Iowa State camp this past summer.
You know, Cleo's a lot different back than what we've had in the past. You know, a lot of our backs have been downhill guys that can hit a hole, and he does a lot of different things. You know, sometimes he's going to take a big loss, but sometimes he's going to make some moves that you're shocked with. You know, he's going to get some big gains out of it.
He's a big part of our offense. He's probably the main part of our offense. We need to make sure that we protect him and he stays healthy, and we just got to run the ball. I mean, we'll have a pass game too, but running the ball is going to be our main point.
It's going to be fun, finally. I get back there, be able to run the ball, show everybody what I can do and stuff. Really.
Under center, sophomore Jared Thompson will have large shoes to fill, replacing Alex Olson, who started 21 career games and produced over 1,000 yards of total offense in 2010. The most important stat, however, was his 16-3 touchdown-to-interception ratio. Thompson, one of two freshmen to see the field for the Lynx last season, will be depended on to make sound decisions with the football.
He's progressed a lot. We have a lot of confidence in him. He's like another brother back there. Protect him, so that's basically what it's like.
He's a kid that did get some varsity time last year in some games, and so he understands the situation. He's been in you know, big games. He's been around it. Now the decision-making is going to be vital for him. You know, we're going to try to run the ball as much as we can, but he has to be able to make decisions, and we're going to bring him along, and he's done a great job.
Development for blockers will be key for AL's offense in 2011, as they must replace multi-year starters at fullback, tight end, and along the offensive line. Last season, AL's quick strike offense was aided by wide receiver Devin Thomas. The Iowa Western signee racked up over 1,000 yards of offense and 11 touchdowns. Returning wide receivers accounted for just 3 catches for 46 yards, so experience is needed there. Look for the Lynx to use more of a grinded-out offense in 2011.
We're going to have to nickel and dime, and last year we were very fortunate to have, you know, a back that could just hit a hole and he'd be gone. Now we're going to have to be a little bit more conservative. We're game planning wise. We're going to have to develop a little bit more within, you know, situations.
We're going to try stretching out our drives more to tire out the defense because we don't have the line we had last year, so we're going to have to pound the ball more and wear out the defense a lot more than we did last year.
With an offense that averaged nearly 50 points a game in 2010, the Lynx defense didn't need to be dominant, yet they still held opponents to 14 points or fewer 6 times while leading the Missouri River Conference with 52 tackles for loss. This season, they'll be counted on to shoulder even more of the load, and that begins up front on the defensive line, where they'll have to replace multiple starters, including defensive end Jamison Locke, who signed to play at Iowa State last February.
You know, our defensive line, you know, is always a focus. You know, if you don't stop the run in high school football, you're going to be in trouble, and so that's what we gear to. We want teams to pass the ball and do some things that they don't like to do.
We're pushing hard every day during all the drills, trying to get low, and we have to just pushing hard.
Much like everywhere else, AL must find replacements at linebacker.
There you go.
Senior Colton Thompson will be the leader of the second level of the defense, returning after posting 52 tackles, 6 for loss, and an interception as a junior. Speaking of interceptions, the Lynx came away with the 4th most in Class 4A in 2010 with 16. Nolan Webster and Devin Thomas combined for 9 of them. AL will have to depend on a new secondary to pick up where they left off.
We'll be packed with seniors, so they have experience. They've been out there, they've done it before, but they should be just as good as the other ones. So I can see a lot of picks coming out of this season too.
I think they're real quick. Like they're real fast and strong. I think they can do the job, get the job done.
An efficient offense in 2010 led to Abe Lincoln punting the ball far fewer times than any team in Class 4A with just 9 all season. In his rare appearances, Bo Brownlee averaged over 42 yards a punt in 2010. The seniors expected to do the same this year, while Miguel Espinoza handles place-kicking duties. The return game will miss Devin Thomas, as the speedster was among the state's best, scoring 4 times between punt and kick returns. But the Lynx still have capable bodies back deep. Harris averaged 27.5 yards a kick return last season, while Alex Clement, Alex White, and Brandon Colpitz have also proved to be dangerous.
They're sure-handed guys that are going to make the right decisions, that are going to make plays. As long as we don't give up turnovers on our special teams, we're excited about that.
That's really important. That starts off the game if you run back a kick return. That's what sets the game.
An undefeated regular season is a tough act to follow. This year's team at Abe Lincoln will not only have to face unfair comparisons to the best team in school history, but will do so with a group of players lacking considerable playing time. That being said, the players now know what it takes to reach elite status and appear to be ready for the challenge.
Really, like us, yeah, 9-0, you want to be conference champs, you want to win state, all that stuff. Like, we still have that mentality to be there and get there and be that good.
You know, our expectations never waver. We always want to be in the running for the conference championship. We always want to be in the running to make the playoffs. We want to be playing into November. That's our goal and that's our expectations.
Justin Camrad, 3rd year, 20-10 record in his 3 seasons at Abraham Lincoln. 3 straight postseason berths. Do you guys expect him to continue to do well over there?
I do. I think, you know, you have an undefeated regular season last year, and a lot of that, you know, the younger kids saw how the right way to do things from that senior class. So you hope as an AL fan that some of that stuff rubbed off and having in terms of work habits and things like that, and hopefully they can sustain some of what they built last year.
I think this is the first year you kind of see what Camrad's done as far as a program as a whole. He's had that class that graduated that last year in 3 years to work with them, and you saw what the benefits were to be able to take a class and work with them. Now we get to see overall like how the program has grown, not just that class, but those guys that have been watching, playing behind those guys late in games and in the JV situations, kind of see how the program moves along as they step up to the varsity level this year.
You know, and I think it can be overlooked too, but the success has bred an interest in the sport over at Abraham Lincoln. They have a lot of kids playing. That's definitely going to benefit them at the 4A level, don't you think?
Well, I think so. I mean, that's the mark of a true program is being able to sustain it over time. And when you get added numbers out there, certainly that helps. And football is all about numbers. I mean, we know that. That's why they break it up into classes and so forth. So, I mean, certainly Cameron, that's what he wants to do is build a program, not just a 1 or 2 year wonder and something that can be successful over time.
The other thing is too, playing in the Missouri River Conference, you know, there's only 5 teams to play 4A football, so you know, the chance to maintain success within that conference is always there, because really you only need to be better than 2 or 3 teams to be in the hunt for that conference championship at the end of every year. And that's easier to do, you know, than if you're playing with the league with, say, 8 or 9 teams where people do have those classes that they've had for a while.
It's easy to talk about what they did last year, obviously an undefeated regular season. Austin Ebertowski, a big part of that, but Cleo Harris, obviously a stud. That's going to be a nice little perk. You know, everybody's going to expect a big drop-off. I think, though, the talent is there to continue to be a great rushing team. offensive line, though. They do lose some guys up front. Those are the guys that are going to be overlooked in their rushing game. You guys, what do you guys see up front? Do you think that they still have the potential to be a good power running team?
Yeah, they do still have a couple of starters back, and you know, I got a chance to talk to Denton a little bit during our preseason preview work, and he seemed to think that a lot of those guys, you know, that did see a little bit of time last year, are going to be ready to make that step up, and they really don't expect a whole lot of drop off up there. The problem is when you put guys in an actual varsity situation, how do you handle it when that adversity hits for the first time? You know, they're going to get to find those things out in those first couple of weeks of the regular season, but I really expect that the line should come together okay.
And again, you know, you can talk about a great running back or a kid with speed like Cleo, but you got to be able to offset that with a nice passing game. Just enough to mix it up to keep them off balance and to make them respect your ability to throw the ball. So that's one of the keys too, is to respect that pass a little bit.
And obviously Thompson in his first year as a starting quarterback, offensive line, even more important to make sure that he's got the time to hopefully make the decisions. You know, he's just a sophomore, so you'd like to think that he's going to be coached up to be able to throw the ball away or find the open receiver, but under the bright lights on Friday nights, it's kind of difficult.
Well, I'm sure that that's probably one of the biggest concerns that Cameron had coming into the season was the quarterback spot. You know, Alex Olson had plenty of time to develop into what was a very efficient quarterback by the time he hit his senior year. Obviously, they're asking a lot of Jared pretty early on, and maybe in an ideal situation, you know, he'd still have another year to get ready to be that varsity starting quarterback for those last couple of years. That's not the case. He's going to kind of get thrown into the fire a little bit here early in the season, but again, how they perform those first couple of weeks and how comfortable he gets in that varsity type situation is going to be key to how Abraham Lincoln does overall this season, I think.
You go top to bottom, they lose production in pretty much every statistical category, offense and defense, including the 16 interceptions they had last year. Feel like their secondary can create some opportunities. Obviously, again, first year starting quarterback, you can expect to have a few more turnovers than you had last year. Alex Olson, 16 touchdowns, 3 picks. I don't think that you can rely on Jared Thompson to take care of the ball like that as a sophomore starting quarterback. You guys feel like that's important?
It's important to be able to get takeaways, no question. I mean, if you're looking at a team with a little less experience than others you're playing, you need to find ways to make that up. And certainly the turnover battle in all levels of football, such a huge difference. If you can win that turnover battle, you know, that's worth a couple scores each Friday night, it seems like.
When you're looking at new starters too, it's going to take time for them to grow into position. The thing that AL does have with Cleo returning in the secondary, who I think was really overlooked by the fact that he played with that great class of guys who are a year older than him. You know, maybe he didn't get the credit he always deserved for being a great individual player himself. But with he and Colton Thompson returning at linebacker, who was one of the top tacklers on the team last year, you know, you do have guys in that back seven that have played a lot of time, that have seen some success, that the other guys who are first-time varsity starters, or you know, guys that are moving up into more varsity playing time, can look at and say, you know, let me see how Colton does it, let me see how Cleo does it, and maybe learn the ropes from those guys who have been in those battles before.
And I really feel like maybe another overlooked part of the success that AL had was the return game last season. They had so many good athletes back there. It seems like Camrad is confident that he's got athletes again back there. You'd think Cleo Harris, you know, there's a couple names back there that could create some plays. Do you worry at all about when Cleo gets his rest? He's being recruited heavily in the secondary. I think that's where they feel like that's where he needs to play the most on defense, given his extraordinary talents on offense. I think they're going to try to get him some rest on offense, but man, where do you rest him?
Well, one of the things that really shocked me talking to Camrad during the preseason was his confidence in Alex Clement, who will be playing a bigger role this year. And the thing that stands out to me was he described him as, he's just like Devin Thomas. And anybody that saw Devin Thomas play last year knows the difference maker type of guy that he was on the football field. Yeah, he's one of the funnest kids to watch at the high school level because he was so small yet so explosive. And Cameron feels that Alex is like that same kid. He's like, they're basically the same guy. And I expect him to be asked to step in and do some of those same things that Devin did on those special teams, and that would therefore lead to the rest you're talking about for Cleo.
I mentioned it in my piece. It's kind of unfair for this year's AL team because they're following the most successful team in school history. So they're dealing with the expectations, probably unrealistic from certain people, of what to expect. I really, though, feel like you said it, success breeds success. I think the players in the program now saw what it takes to get there. The Missouri River Conference isn't exactly loaded. What do you guys think? Maybe 6, 7 wins, 5, 6 wins? Where do you guys feel like expectations should lie?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're talking about the little things of turnovers, penalties, can you run an efficient offense? Can you play within your potential? That's the difference between maybe 3 wins and maybe 6, 7 wins. So I think that's where they're at. They're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 of those close games, and if they can do those little things right, they can be right there.
One of the things that's going to hamper them this year is that last year they got the benefit of having all those home games. So a lot of those big name non-conference games were at home. All the Sioux City teams came here to play AL last year. That won't be the case. They'll be going on the road. I think that just a little bit that Kevin and I talked, East is probably the team to beat this year. They have a little bit more returning and were undefeated up until the point they met AL a year ago. So they may be the team to chase. I see no reason that AL shouldn't be right there in that second spot going into this, even with losing all those starters. And who knows, maybe it comes down to that game on the road in Sioux City, mind you, but that could be one that could catapult AL even back up to the next level and looking at a 2 or 3 seed in the playoffs and instead of being maybe a team that might just sneak in.
All right, after the break, don't change it. A look at St. Albert's football team. We'll be right back.